It's definitely natural for all of us to want to be popular and to be liked. However, in the long haul, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be happy. And at the end of the day, I think that should be our common goal, is to all be happy. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about why it's more important to be authentic than to be popular. So let's just get right into it. As I said, it all comes down to happiness. We can all be popular for a time. We in high school, that seemed to be the main thing. Then as we get into adulthood, I think it's just natural, right? The social circle, you need to feel part of it. It's part of our inherent instincts from our ancestors. They had to stay in a pack, if you will. But in 2025, we really don't. We're, at least here in America, we're generally pretty safe. We can pretty much be who we want to be. We can find our crowd, if you will, our tribe, based on, your political views, outlooks on life, whatever. And, with that said, too, is it doesn't matter what the hell you do. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't like you. We can't please everybody. So, why not be our authentic, true selves? I know it's not easy. I'm going to speak to my experience and, the change that I went through. So I was raised in a pretty religious household. Like, the religion, you pretty much live it. It's not a spectator sport, as I would say. And ultimately, I decided it wasn't my truth. And, though not easy, I ended up leaving. I honestly, in my situation, it would shock you. I really didn't lose any friendships. And, in all reality, you being your authentic self, honestly, that's probably more likely than not, is that you won't lose friendships and people are going to respect you more because you've said, this is my true self. Like, I'm going to be bluntly honest. This is not me. This is not how I want to live. I would rather make this decision. You are the one that has to live with your decision, not the people that you are trying to please. So keep that in mind. Like, at the end of the day, you have to live with that decision. Now, let's talk about some ways, with everything, you can start small. I understand something like, you know, growing up in a super religious household like I did, and then coming full, being honest with it and saying, I don't believe in this, or, you might even decide to live an alternative lifestyle and decide to be part of another community. And that's a huge damn step. And so you might not want to start with that. So, there might be some other little view or something that's not as popular, or, you can start with that hot take. Everybody, I mean, maybe the sitcom Friends, right? Everybody seems to like that show and it sucks. Like, that's one thing I'll authentically tell you. I think that show sucks and Rachel's a weird narcissist. But, that might not necessarily be the popular opinion. Start with something that small, and if it's something bigger, work up to it. If it's coming out, or, leaving a religion, or, another one that's kind of, turning tides is choosing not to have children. That's kind of the social norm, right? You grow up, you find a partner, you have children. And I think that formula applies whether you're hetero or, live an alternative lifestyle, is that you find your person and you have children. But not all of us want to have children at the end of the day. And it's not a popular decision, but here's the reality of that, is that you're the one that has to raise the kids. You're the one that has to pay for the health care. You have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to go to the PTA meetings. The people putting pressure on you to have children don't have to do that for your children. You do. So, also keep that in mind, that these decisions are going to have a bigger effect on you, and the people who are pushing you, it's not. It's just A lot of times I think they have positive motivation. Like, I'll take when I left the religion, yeah, there was resistance, but that beliefs, system is like, well, he's going to hell, and we don't want him to go to hell. And you know what? That's legitimate. And here's the thing, too, is that, you know, you have to accept that those people aren't going to like the decision, but, be respectful. And at least in my situation, I found that they were respectful back to me. Eventually, I, of course, defended, explained my position. And that's the other thing. Don't let people make you feel ashamed. That, right there is easier said than done. And that was one thing. It took me some time, just like it will. Eventually, I stood up for myself and I was like, you know what? I don't feel guilty about this. I'm happy. You might say, have the narrative that I will be miserable if I don't do the popular thing, but that's a damn lie. So also keep that in mind. But, with that, I think I'm going to get this wrapped up. I don't want to take too long and kind of rant and meander like I am. But at the end of the day, I encourage you to be your authentic self. And, keep this in mind. And this is a viewpoint we should adopt. I love, another hot take. Some people love Five Finger Death Punch. Others don't like them. They think they're cheesy. But they have a line in the song that says, I'd rather you hate me for everything I am than have you love me for something I am not. And, keep that in mind. You're going to have also better relationships with people and more authentic when they love you or hate you for everything that you truly are, not this false self. And, that will help you also gain confidence, knowing that those people love you and are, supporting you being your authentic self. But, again, start small. You can start with a hot take. When you have an unpopular decision, whatever your community is, like I say, if you hate a sitcom, everybody likes it, stand up and say, I hate it. If you're in the metal community and you don't like Metallica or Tool or Slayer or whatever, say it. Just be like, you know what, I respect them, but they suck. But with that, I hope you found some value. I'm going to let you get back to your day. I appreciate you spending some time with me today, and we'll see you on the next